Hi there, this is Sheena Rowlands and today I'm sharing with you my latest layout for Hey Little Magpie featuring the Simple Stories Wildflower range, which was a collaboration with My Mind's Eye. So for this layout I'm going to focus on the 6x8 pad and I'm just going through it and I'm picking out some papers that just catch my eye. I don't use all of them, but I am going to use quite a few of them. So I'm looking for a certain colourways. I don't know whether you've spotted it yet. It's the pinks and the yellows that I'm taken my fancy, and I'm thinking of using 5 of them if I can. Using white cardstock as the base, as a 12 by 12, and I also want to use some tags. So I've already made one layout with this range, so I've got some tags left over, so I want to use some of those as well. So I'm looking at doing some strips from the pattern papers, and I'm just looking at the different ones at the top. I don't want to make it too busy, but I think there's so many beautiful patterns in this range. If you do get a chance, have a look in the Hey Little Magpie shop. They've got loads of new ranges, including a few from Simple Stories, but the colours of this one really did catch my eye. And I'm trying to decide which 5 pattern papers do I want to make the cut. So I'm just changing some in and out, trying to get a contrast, and just having a look at how they would look. So I know it's taking me a little bit of time, but it's worth it. So I've brought in some of the tags. So I'm looking again at pinks and yellows. So I'm just cutting up the ones that I've got left over, and I'm arranging them as well at the bottom at the moment. I hadn't quite got an idea in mind of how I wanted this layout to look. I just knew that I wanted to showcase the pattern papers. So I'm going to cut some strips from these. So what I did to start with is I put a tag on the guillotine and I cut the strips to the same width as the tag. So I'm going to use 5 strips from the 6x8 pad and 5 tags. So I don't know what it actually measures, but I know they measure the same, and I thought that was probably the easiest way to do it. Now I really love this patterned paper, and when you look at it closely, it's got cats or like pink tigers on it. But when you see it as a whole, I don't think you really see that. So I've actually trimmed it because I want the pattern to be symmetrical on this piece. So I didn't just take it from the edge. So I'm just looking at how these would look, and I was going to run them one below another, but then I decided I might go alternates, as you see there. So I'm now looking at matching some tags, not necessarily matching in the sense that I need them to be the same, but maybe similar colourways. So there was a tag there that seemed too bright, so I've swapped it out, and another one I thought that maybe was too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my strips into tags as well. So using a real tag as a template, I'm going to punch the holes out of the real ones from the tag sheet, and then I'm going to mark it and cut holes out of mine, the long strips, if that makes sense. Now the gadget I'm using is from We Are Memory Keepers, and it's a hole punch, and it makes me so happy. It's really sad, but it makes them, they're exactly the right size for Simple Stories tags. And I'm not affiliated, I just love it, and that's why I share it. So I realised that actually the tags and the strips would be touching, and I wanted a tiny bit of gap between them. So I'm just now trimming a tiny sliver off both sides of those with the guillotine. So I'm going to work my way up, making them tag shaped. So using, as I say, the tag each time as the template, cutting the little triangles off, then punching the hole. Which is a very simple task, but it does take a little bit of time. So I'm not going to subject you to all of it, but you get the idea of what I'm doing, and then I'm trimming them down as well. So that's all been done, finished off camera. Brought in another punch here, and I'm actually going to punch like an eyelet to go round the holes on the 6x8 pieces of patterned paper. So I'm just using some scraps and bits that are left over to just cut that eyelet. So obviously I need 5 for the 5 tags that I've made, if that makes sense. So, and then I'm going to glue them down. So this punch does a really good job, but I think maybe the thickness of the paper, it's getting a bit stuck. So I've had to help it along with a pair of scissors a couple of times. So I'm just trying to find the last one to do. I like this plain yellow, so I cut one for that tag at the top, so I think that's them all in situ now. And I bring in some wet glue and I'm just going to add them into position. So another little easy job, but once they're stuck down, saves me losing them somewhere on my desk. Now some of the little tags did have a couple of grey ones, eyelets already on them, and I'm going to keep those. I think that might help when I come to embellish them. And I'm going to just ink round the edges with this Distress Oxide just to give them a little bit more definition. Obviously at this stage the 6x8 papers are a little bit long, and I will then set to and trim those to size. I'm very much winging this layout. It's not at all looking how I imagined it would, but I am still enjoying it, so I am still going with it. Yeah, it's not quite my style, I would say, and you probably would agree, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try something new. So using some wax twine, I'm tying them together just with a bow, and I will trim that for each one. There's just a dusky pink that I'm using for these. So when I actually stuck the tags to the cardstock, I didn't stick them at the eyelet end. I stuck them at the other end so that actually they lift a little, and you can see that there. When I put the thread through them, they actually lift a little, which makes it much easier for them to thread. And I'm all for easy, if I'm honest. So when I'm happy with those, I'm just going to trim the edges and I'll carry on and do the others as I work my way up. So that's it, all finished. And now I'm just measuring the size of the tags, and I go off and I print 5 photographs from my son's and daughter-in-law's wedding. Now, there's certain events when you can have lots and lots of photos, and initially I wasn't going to put a photo on each tag, but actually I decided there is so many photos that I really want to use as many as I can. So these are all got people in, and they work their way through the day. They're just little snapshots that I really enjoyed, or photos that bring out great memories for me. So that's what I went, but I actually measured the tags to make sure the photos would fit before I printed them, and I did that myself on a selfie. Now the crucial bit for me now is coming up with a title. There's some lovely foam, like puffy words on here, and I really like the word cherish, but I'm not sure what to put with it. So I do faff around a little bit while I try and work this out. Sometimes I find that layouts with less on, it's harder to get the look that you really want, if that makes sense. And some of these lovely chipboard pieces just felt a little bit chunky, but I will keep messing, because embellishing is the thing I like the most. So I am going to just keep working my way through. What I've been doing is cutting off these stickers and things on the back with the plastic on the backing, which means I can move them around, and if they don't make the final cut, it's not a big deal at all. I make the decision that I want to add something to every photograph. They've all got something that's got a word on, whether it's a circle or a puffy word, or there's one with chipboard and a sticker in the end. And so that's what I do. And also the 3 longer tags in the centre, they have a little bit of embellishment, and the middle one is going to be the title. But the idea was to showcase the beautiful patterns of this range, so I don't want to cover them up too much. That wasn't the intention when I first set out. Even though the layout has evolved as I've made it, I don't want to cover them up too much. So I am still messing with that central title, and cherish is the word that will make it in the end. That's definitely the word that I want to keep, and I like it with the flower underneath, so that's going to stay, I think. But the circle at the top with the bridesmaid says smile, very simple there. The word with the groomsman says all smiles. The circle with the bus says truly lovely. And at the bottom, it with the sparkler photo, it says loving this. And with the bride and groom just leaving the church, that says beautiful, which I've overlaid onto a chipboard stamp. And there's a little circle heart in the corner of that as well. So the 2 longer tags either side of the title, one says true memories, and I'm not sure what I want to put on the other one at this stage. So I'm having a look. As you can see, I've got all the embellishments to one side, and anything that I think might make the cut tends to go over to the right, and everything that needs sourcing is on the left. what I decide is I'm going to start to stick down what I've made a decision on, and then I can actually focus a little bit more on the last few details. And I find that's a way that focuses my mind. I like the fact that some of the stickers are rectangular and some of them are circular. I feel like that it's a nice mix going forward without overpowering any of the smaller photographs. So I add this flower and I raise one edge with foam so that it's not completely flat, and I find a sticker on the sticker sheet, and I cut it up and I pick the word everything. That's the word I take from it. So the idea is it's cherish everything, and I think that kind of goes with the selection of photos that I've chosen. So I add one of the sticky brads to the centre of the flower, and that works really well. So I think I'm going to leave that finally as my title. So just a little bit of finishing off. And on that other longer tag, it actually says cherish the moment. So I like that. So in the end, I cut the dot off the I in cherish, and I add a little grey heart that was on the puffy sticker set, and that's it done. I'm really pleased with how it looks. I hope you like this. Do check out the range with Hey Little Magpie. And if you like what you see, give this a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. That would be much appreciated. So thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.